Happy birthday, happy anniversary. So happy everyone's here. Okay. This is the second red carpet celebration. We had our first, as Jose said earlier, in May, and we'll have the last one in November. We had to spread it out because there were so many honorees to recognize. And it's been very hard to come up with the words to say thank you to all of you who made this happen. The words are not there, but you know what? We're going to give it our best shot. Our first honoree, or honorees, I'll explain that in a minute, Mary and Bill Hitch. First of all, the reason Bill is not on the front row is because even though he supported UUNB and has been a member of the choir and participated in a lot of things, he did not want to be acknowledged because he said all those years that Mary volunteered, he was out on the golf course. So I had to honor his wishes, and he got a second row seat. It's quite unusual to find a person with so many awesome qualities and creative talents as Mary. She earned her bachelor's degree in zoology, went to work in setting up labs at Texas A&M, went on to get a master's degree in biochemistry, and later on a master's in public administration. She worked in the local county court system for about 10 years. She was first drawn to Unitarian Universalism because it made sense. She became a member in 2000 and started on a journey that would bring a great sense of fulfillment in helping UUNB, wasn't the name at the time, but it is now, reach its goals and sharing fun with others. When you go back and look at the scrapbooks, of which there are many, Mary's picture comes up about every other page. She served on practically all committees, service leader, presented sermons, led study groups, was a board member, board president, and president-elect. The church had a rugged past in finding a home, homeless for many years, bouncing from people's residences, rooms in other churches, and even the senior center before moving into this beautiful building. Mary's proud that she served as president the year that everyone moved into this beautiful building we are in today. She remembers Saturdays working from 9 to 4, working on painting the RE room as well as painting the outside of the church. She said it was so much fun and the workers really enjoyed being together. During COVID, Mary's technical skills, along with those of Candy Carpenter and Meredith Patterson, literally were the life's blood of UUNB. These women kept everything moving through Zoom meetings, which took a lot of time, coordination, and effort. Mary was also instrumental in working with Earth Mothers Group, a group who took day trips to enjoy nature. She's involved in Conversation Cafe, Parents' Night Out, water activities, talent shows, and working with the youth. Thank you, Mary, for being so multi-talented and sharing your gifts to make UUNB the great sanctuary it is. And thank you, Bill. Joanne and Paul McGaffey. Joanne and Paul joined the sanctuary in January 2003. Oh dear. I'll just hold it. All right.
to this.
Here comes our hero.
Can we take it off?
Here.
You gonna put it back on?
This one, but it's got to be the right one.
Just one.
Extend it up closer to forward.
Hold on, guys. We'll get it.
I'll start all over. Is that okay, everybody? I mean, with Joanne and Paul. Joanne and Paul joined UUNB in January 2003. Joanne and Paul were well matched. Paul was an extremely funny, jovial kind of guy who loved to play the harmonica, loved to do carpentry, and loved to help others. Joanne is more serious-minded, goal-oriented, and also loves helping others. After all, she's president of the board and gives so much of her time and energy. Paul was a member, this is so funny, Paul was a member of the Geezer Group, a bunch of talented men who could fix anything. And they were on call constantly to try to help those who should never touch a power saw. Paul and the Geezers would go to folks' homes and do repairs out of the goodness of their hearts. If any of the recipients wanted to pay for the services, Paul would suggest making a donation to the church. Of course, the receivers of the wonderful services would pay for the parts. But can you imagine what a luxury that would be in today's world? All the Geezers enjoyed helping others, a common trait among UUers. At the time Paul and Joanne joined the church, Sunday services had just begun. Joanne remembers she and Paul hauling the chalice and other items around in their car trunks and wheeling an upright piano from one room to the other to conduct a service. Joanne served as president for 2 years from 2005 to 2007, which was a time when the congregation was in the process of finding a lot and starting construction for the new building. It was a very chaotic time with a lot of decisions to be made, but everyone pulled together to get things done. Joanne served on the membership committee, the program committee, the building committee, and the committee on ministry. Joanne wrote and presented Sunday services, served as worship associate often, and was responsible, this is important, y'all, for the coffee after the services. How could we survive without that? Joanne helped with the construction of the building by helping to tile the backsplash in the kitchen and other odd jobs where everyone eventually would pitch in. And this is why Joanne feels so at home, because she has a vested interest in the growth and well-being of the church. Paul, along with Jim Barry, found the lot on which the church is on today. Paul built the storage in the RE room, the bookcases in the hall, the vanities in the bathroom, and he helped with fence building. He was instrumental in building the memory garden. He served on the building committee, and he presented a number of Sunday services. And he counted heads every Sunday and kept records. Paul and Joanne worked beautifully together, both at the SOS Food Bank for a few years and doing summer programs here at UUNB. What a great legacy Paul left. How wonderful that Joanne is still carrying that torch and giving her all. Joanne, your contributions are amazing, and Paul's artistry and work are a daily reminder of how we got here through the sweat equity of all its members. Thank you, Joanne, for your dedication, hard work, and your big, beautiful heart. Jackie Russell. Jackie Russell and Jane Miller joined UUNB in October 2005. 3 years later, these generous UUers gifted the church with a beautiful Steinway piano that you see before you. They selected just the right spot for it and had it perfectly sized for the church. The piano is a constant reminder of the generosity of its members. Jackie can be described as a die-hard evangelizer for UU ideals and principles. And she's been on the national front, attending conferences with UUA, as well as work at the local levels. Stewardship is her specialty. Teaching is her forte, and she actually enjoys reading about church government. She offered her time, talent, and treasure by teaching a course, Cakes for the Queen of Heaven, by Dr. Shirley Rank. Am I saying that right? Rank. The course examines pre-Judeo-Christian cultures that may have worshiped the female as the divine. The concepts of equality and reverence for the female in a religious setting are eye-opening to so many participants. The workshop examined the important elements of today's women's lives, personal, interpersonal, and societal. It examined a culture being influenced by Judeo-Christian values. The primary question raised is, how would your life have been different if, when growing up, the divine had been imaged as a female? Participants were encouraged to share their own experiences, beliefs, creating trust and bonds of friendship. In 1977, UUA General Assembly unanimously passed the Women and Religion Resolution, calling on all individual UUers to examine and put aside sexist assumptions, attitudes, and language, to explore and eliminate religious roots of sexism in myths, traditions, and beliefs. The impact of this resolution has been profound, ranging from the establishment of women's spiritual retreats to the rapid increase in the number of female UU ministers. It has prompted incorporation of more ritual, such as chalice lighting and joys and sorrows, into our services, as well as the review and revision of principles and purposes. Curricula celebrating female divine has been developed, including Cakes for the Queen of Heaven. Jackie's course on Cakes for the Queen of Heaven was in high demand and was extremely popular. The buzz is still going on about how utterly fantastic the course was, and Jackie's presentation made it superb. And I think that course is available to check out here in the library. Jackie, your wonderful gifts of teaching, mentoring, and supporting women's groups and UUNB are so greatly appreciated and treasured. And your generosity touches all our hearts. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Next, Ted Mills and Catherine Walker. Happy birthday, happy celebration. Ted and Catherine were among the early members with Catherine joining in 1999 and Ted joining in 2005. Is that right? Okay. Okay. They've been active in the church and activities in so many areas. Ted and Catherine are our eternal newlyweds. They hold, oh, sorry. Ted and Catherine are our eternal newlyweds. They hold the honorable distinction of being the first couple married into this wonderful world of Unitarian Universalism in New Braunfels. Some of you here today were present on that memorable day, February 8, 2004, when the gang gathered at the Senior Citizen Center, which is the home then, for the lovely celebration of love. Trish Stevens made their beautiful wedding cake. Among the many things Ted became involved with was the Interfaith Coalition that has provided hospitality to immigrants by welcoming them into homes, offering warm bed and meals, and partnering with a Mennonite church in San Antonio to offer shelter. The Interfaith Welcome Coalition provides transportation, referrals to immigration attorneys, help with medical appointments, school enrollment for children, and long-term housing. Ted ensures that those who are interested receive a regular email from the coalition about updates advocating for immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. Ted was instrumental in setting up the backpack program that everyone's participated in. Catherine is very proud of her involvement in establishing a musical program that resulted in the church here providing space for chamber music concerts. Catherine saw a need for improvement in the quality of music in this community, and she pulled Ted in to help her join the quest for culture. Around the same time, quite by accident, they met up with Bill McNally, renowned pianist and composer, and the magic started with a series of chamber music concerts. The vision for the attendees was to have the opportunity to enjoy classical music in a comfortable and cozy setting. And the chamber music began playing a vital role in our current musical fabric, not only because of its rich history of incredible classical music, but the versatility and adaptability it provides. The kind of close-up and personal experience that cannot be accomplished by orchestras and other large ensembles. Those chamber concert series continue today. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Catherine, for all your contributions for making UUNB the very best. Christina Smith. Christina was forced to sit on the front row, but she always sits in the back. That's her preference. But today, she's not in control. In her formative years, Christina was introduced to Unitarian. Oh, thank you. Christina Smith is, as I said, forced to sit on the front row against her will, but that's okay. In her formative years, Christina was first introduced to Unitarianism while in elementary school because of Saturday night sleepovers with her friend, Sue. Rather than attending St. Luke's church on Sunday with her mom, she was able to go with Sue and her family to their church, the First Lutheran Society of Chicago. Sue's father was an artist, and all the people at the church seemed so cool, unlike the people at her church. As an adult living in New Braunfels, Christina was good friends with Thea and Jan for years. Christina jumped at their idea to start a Unitarian Universalist society. Christina was definitely interested and wanted to be involved, but at the time, there were a group of people in town starting a unity church. Christina had a dear friend named Ida Singh, who was a card-carrying, lifelong member of Unity. Ida was pleased and excited to see Unity come, but her driving days were over, and as a result, Christina became her wheels and then attended many of the preliminary meetings for the new Unity Church and helped see it to formation. When Ida died, Christina directed all of her attention to UU. She was a founding member, joining in 1996. Christina became the type of member always ready to help. At a moment's notice, especially when there was a great need, Christina would come up with a program and deliver it with finesse and skill without having any notes. Her expert speaking skills, quick wit, and great delivery have saved the Sunday services on many occasions. It's been a pleasure for Christina to be a member of this organization and proudly labels herself a Unitarian Universalist. Whether it's been attending a wedding, a funeral, a protest, a potluck, a party, or a picnic, Christina has probably been there and will be there. Christina's life has been and still filled with travel, but when she's in town on Sunday, she'll be here. And she loves to sit in the back. Not because she's antisocial, because she thinks that's the coolest place to sit. Sorry. Thank you so much, Christina, for the superwoman moves that you have and for always coming to the rescue of UUNB. You are our treasure. Thank you so much. And please stay seated until the end of the service. And now Susan will have an opportunity to continue on with the rest of the honorees.
Kind of reminds me of Lyle Lovett. Did y'all ever hear his song about the Sunday service? And the preacher kept on preaching and everybody was hungry. So I will talk very fast, but I want you to know we will have food for you at the end. So please stay. The first couple I want to talk about are dear friends of all of us, Dwight and Al. Like most of us, Dwight and Al grew up in traditional religious households. Dwight, a Methodist from Brady, Texas, that's the heart of Texas, and Al, an independent Baptist from Virginia. Dwight became a member April 4th, 2004, while Al signed the book August 26, 2009. Al was traveling for Sears in those days, and he just felt he couldn't commit to a church. I asked them, what was the draw of Unitarianism? Dwight noticed the rainbow logo on the sandwich board that we used to have outside the senior center. You guys probably remember that. That's where we met in those days. But it wasn't the church, but it was the people that really convinced him to return. Thea Cheshire was over the top friendly and welcoming. Al and Dwight said their mentors were Bob Kaiser and Trish Stevens, Ted and Catherine, Joan and Paul, and Dwight and Al were married here in our gathering room, one of the first of many. They love the intimacy of a small group, and yet it's so open, welcoming, and sincere. Al recalled his experience as a senior in high school where black people had to ride in the back of the bus. He was so attracted to our policies of love and inclusion. Dwight reminded me about Padlock Sunday, where we were locked out of the senior center because of our program about Wiccans. And yet we didn't miss a beat. we continued our service at Thea's house. Padlock Sunday spurred him to help us find land and design this building. Al shared that his mother told him many times over the years that we are all God's children. This is the welcoming feeling of acceptance and sincerity that they felt every time they come into this building. And we are glad you've joined us for this journey. I have a funny little anecdote. Al said that he was a very young, talkative elementary student. I know you can't imagine that. His teacher made him put his nose on the blackboard. Dwight said very quietly, I'm wondering if we don't need a little blackboard at our house. I want you to know that Dwight was the architect of this building, and he's been on the Building and Grounds Committee ever since. And Al is kind of the heart and soul of our SOS program and kind of our heart and soul. He always reminds us, come on, guys, we need to give a little more. We want to thank you both for being with us all these years. At any time, if you need to get up and stretch, just have at it. I'm a little ADD, so I'm always running in circles. Or my next person to talk about is our beloved Tricia Stevens and Bob Kaiser. We miss Bob every day. Trish and Bob are a driving force in our UU history. They first met in San Diego, where Bob was already going to a UU church there. Trish was an Episcopalian. They both enjoyed that UU's honored nature, and there wasn't too much God talk. Tricia decided that when they moved to Texas, they would look for a home church. She saw an ad, one that you guys have seen before. Are you looking for a liberal church? They attended our Sunday services at the senior center. Trish recalled that she was going to give a program on the Wiccan religion. And Wicca is a modern religion that honors the life-giving and life-sustaining powers of nature through ritual worship and a commitment to living in balance with the earth. Well, someone at the Senior Center Board of Trustees saw a reference that Wiccans are pagans. That did it, and the doors were padlocked. We didn't miss a beat. We headed to Thea's house to continue our service. And that was the moment that we decided that we had to have a home of our own. Bob and Trish joined a group searching for property along with the aforementioned Jim Barry. And they found us a home. They cleared the land. Tricia grouted the tile floors. And you know, whether it was holding an astronomy star party, Bob was a physicist, or structuring our congregational flow chart. You guys have seen this, I know, many times. The dreaded flow chart. But Bob was the rational brain of our congregation. He always had an overview of how things needed to be organized. Trish said their reward for being a member of our organization was being with inquisitive, open-minded people. We have been blessed with their wisdom and love. You know, Bob was president, board of trustees member, committee chair, par excellence. I think he even wrote our bylaws. And Tricia was standing behind him. She was also many times committee members. The two of them were so active. There's so many things that they were involved in. We want to thank you and celebrate you, and we love you. Our next person, Diane and Kim Pepin. You know, it's so hard to stand up here among all these giants, people that have done so much in our communities. Diane and Kim are two of those people. They joined us July the 23rd, 2006, because their son, Daniel, was dating Jana Redwine, a UU member. They invited Diane and Kim to our Wednesday night services. At that time, we didn't have Sunday services. We only met on Wednesday nights because that's about all that we could get going at that time. We were so young. What they loved was that we laughed and clapped during the service. Kim and Diane loved learning about our principles and living them. One of their treasured memories was attending a UUA General Assembly with Jackie Russell. The best program they came home with was developing a green sanctuary. It took them 2 years to implement this environmental program. They used cloth napkins and real dishes. Kim started the rain recycling program with a big giant rainwater tank that's still out there. He, David Owens, and Dwight Mickelwaite helped make that happen. At this time, Mary Hitch was membership chairperson. Diane and Mary organized Earth Mothers. Carol Summers and Sarah Laird and Judy Godinez, they would all go hiking and camping. And over many campfires, they decided to organize a summer camp for kids. And not just UU kids, but they opened it up and they invited the public. Making nature fun and learning about reduce, recycle, and reuse was just the best part of those campfire nights. And the best part of all their environmental efforts was a little thing that Diane said they loved. It was called Earth Hour parties. For 1 hour, all the electricity was turned off during the party. Everybody gathered around the fire pit. And what is so great is that that's still going on today. We're still recycling. And another fun thing is one time they roasted s'mores while David Owens strummed his guitars. They even had a belly dancer dancing around the fire pit. And the other thing I want to comment on and remind you is this recycling program, they had a Wednesday forum not too long ago, and a lot of us went home with Keep Comal Wet, Save Water. The other great memory she has is helping to build our current church building. She said after a hard day of painting and hammering, they would go out to Fry Heights for hamburgers. Now she feels that same sense of community support. Her sight is failing, and she's called on us. Many of us have stepped up, and we pick her up for Sunday services and events. We've stepped up, and this is the welcoming, loving support that first drew Diane and Kim to that Wednesday night meeting. Kim was president and board member, and I can't tell you how many committees they both served on. We love you, and thank you, Kim and Diane. My number 4 guy is not here, unfortunately. Tom and Fran Hodges were such instrumental members of our community. I almost get a little weepy sometimes when I think about all the folks that aren't here with us today. Today is John, my husband's birthday, and so this is such a special day for me, and I'm so happy because we all love all of the folks that are not with us, and we miss them dearly. Tom can't be with us because he feels a little unsteady, and he's just so worried that he would fall. But I went and talked to him personally with Dwight and Al, and we sat for about an hour. We had the most wonderful conversation. So I'm going to share that with you guys. Tom and Fran became members on October the 23rd, 1996. They were number 9 and 10 that signed the membership book as founding members. Tom remembered that a young girl in one of his classes invited them to attend a UU church in Golden, Colorado. When they retired here, they decided that they were going to look up a UU church. I want to kind of back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about Fran. She was a local girl. Her maiden name was Fran Weiser. She was a Lutheran. She was born in Maxwell, Texas, not too far from here. She is related to the original group that was sent over by Prince Carl in 1845. Fran and Tom started attending the San Marcos UU Church. But then they saw an ad in the paper. Here we go. Are you looking for a liberal group? They loved this group, and they loved it because we accepted everyone. And Tom was kind of remembering back in the day when he was younger. He said he witnessed Japanese Americans being sent to internment camps in Colorado. Many stayed there and joined UU churches. Fran and Tom have served in every position of leadership at UUNB. On the board of trustees as president. They helped with the building and the Alvis property. They built it into this beloved place of worship. Tom feels the greatest gift we give ourselves is freedom, and that we respect all people. Everyone has a say. He said, when it comes to religion, here at UUNB, it's whatever floats your boat. Of course, UU is not for everyone, said Tom. He said that in many churches, people bow or they drink wine. And he said, but here, we just love each other. They served as mentors, founding members, and Tom still comes when he can at 92. He would love to have a few of us visit him if you can from time to time. He lives at Oak Tree Assisted Living Center right across from HEB on Highway 46. And I want you to know that he was served on the first bylaw committees, the first program committees. Fran was speaker many, many times. They just did so much. I feel like that Fran's with us here today, and I know Tom would be if he could. Thank you, Fran and Tom. And last but not least, Peggy Vieira. Yay. Peggy first encountered Unitarianism while living around the corner from the Brookfield UU Church in the suburbs of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They offered a green building for them, and she and her husband, Rick, wanted to build green. They decided that they were going to retire in Texas, and they discovered this little jewel here in New Braunfels. Unfortunately, Rick passed away before she could move to Texas. But they had already bought a lot in River Chase, so she was committed to building that green house, but actually it ended up coral. She planned to work in the schools here for another 10 years, but Governor Rick Perry had another plan. He cut fundings for public school teachers those years. Teacher salaries were slashed. There were so many certified teachers, even the sub-list was filled with certified teachers. But that didn't daunt her. She read that UUNB was planning a water ceremony, and she brought her water from Milwaukee. Diane Pepin greeted her at the door, and the rest was history. Her mentors were Diane, Dwight Now, and Charles C. Hayes, who we lost in January of 2021. She recalled that when she joined at age 57, she was greeted routinely at the door with, "Hey, kiddo." It made her feel so young. We asked her, "What is it that keeps you coming back every Sunday?" And she responded that it's the good friends she's made. She said it's a light in the darkness. Most of us don't realize what a life-saving place this is for our liberal health. Her greatest reward is that we're still growing with new members and that the programs are starting up again, like Wednesday night forum after COVID. But our reward is that she has served as our president when we had a sudden vacancy, and she stepped up and said yes. And she stepped up to lead us. And we are all grateful for her leadership then and now. Peggy has served on the SOS Food Bank Board of Trustees. She's our liaison, and she is a leader in our community. Thank you, Peggy.